keep having the same dream. Everywhere I look, people are being replaced. The last time I had the dream, I was walking down the school hallway. And that's when I started to notice that something's wrong. Everyone I cared about has been systematically replaced. Why are they replacing every single character with someone who is diverse? It's like, it's not our fault, it's because of Kathleen Kennedy. Because Kathleen Kennedy says, I want another gay diverse woman in it, make it more fun. And the Bob Iger is all like, yeah, what's going on with our thoughts?
Eric, it's okay. It's okay.
No. I had a dream that I was replaced by a diverse woman.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, only this time, it wasn't just me. They were taking all my favorite people and replacing them with diverse women complaining about the patriarchy. Will you check under the bed and make sure there's no Disney executives under there?
I promise there's not.
I'm scared, Mom. Will you please just look and make sure Kathleen Kennedy isn't...
Now you know how South Park is. They're not shy about stirring the pot. Alright, let's dive into this South Park episode called Into the Panderverse. This time they're poking fun at Disney big time. They flipped the script on Disney's latest move, swapping the races and genders of characters like it's a game. They're pretty much saying, hey look, Disney is just mixing things up to show they're all about diversity. But South Park, they're calling it like they see it, making it a whole joke in there episode. And let's talk about Disney getting all woke. It's like every new movie has to tick off some checklist. Different race here, new gender, they're all in the name of empowerment. But at what cost? Classics like Snow White and The Little Mermaid are getting a total makeover, and not everyone's happy about it. It's like, can you imagine turning on Snow White and not recognizing any part of the story you grew up with? That's what's got some folks scratching their heads, wondering if Disney's lost the plot while trying to keep up with the times.
Concerned about Disney's new Snow White remake, mostly because of what the lead actress has been saying to the press. Rachel Zegler has been described as a walking PR disaster for Disney's.
Longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can.
Now let's talk about Rachel Zegler, the new face of Snow White. She's caught in a storm, folks. Disney decided to shake things up by casting her, but not just with who she is, but with the whole story too. They've gone and tossed out the romance. Yeah, you heard that right, no love story between Snow White and the prince. Imagine that, Snow White without the heart-fluttering moments with her prince. It's a bold move, and let me tell you, not everyone's on board with this change. And how are people reacting? Well, it's a mixed bag, but a lot of fans aren't too thrilled. They feel like a part of their childhood just got rewritten, the essence of what made Snow White. Well, Snow White seems to be slipping away. Critics are chiming in too, pointing out that these changes are stripping away the charm and magic of the original story we all know and love. It's a lot to take in, and folks are definitely voicing their opinions loud and clear. They say that this is Disney's big strategy. It's all about swapping out the race and gender of beloved characters. Now they say it's to reflect today's diversity, but not everyone's buying it. Some folks think it's just pandering, like they're checking boxes to avoid backlash instead of really trying to tell diverse stories in a meaningful way. It feels more like a marketing stunt to some rather than a true step forward in storytelling, and that's got a lot of people talking about whether this is the right way to bring diversity to the big screen or just superficial.
So, whistle while you work. Whistle while you work. Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest one of all?
And let's not skip over the big shifts in the Snow White movie. They've pushed aside the classic love story for a more feminist take. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing bad about empowering women, but many fans are scratching their heads wondering why the romance that's central to so many memories of Snow White had to go. This change has sparked a lot of debates. Traditional fans who cherish the original are feeling sidelined. They're asking if it's barely recognizable. Is it still Snow White diving back into the cultural side of things? South Park isn't just throwing punches for laughs. Their latest episode really digs into a big issue in Hollywood right now: how studios like Disney seem to be sprinkling in diversity like it's just a seasoning, not the main ingredient. South Park is saying this approach isn't just missing the point, it's actually messing up the stories we've loved for years. They're making a bold statement that sticking a diversity label on something doesn't automatically make it better or more relevant. It has to really mean something or it just falls flat. Now on to Rachel Zegler, who's right in the eye of this storm since she's been cast to Snow White. She's had a lot to say, and not all of it has sat well with fans. In interviews she's come off a bit dismissive about the original Snow White tale, which has only thrown fuel on the fire for those already upset with the changes. It's a tough spot. On one hand, she's bringing a new angle to an iconic role, but on the other, her comments have made some fans feel like she doesn't respect the classic story that means so much to so many. Now let's talk about how the big guys at Disney are taking all this. They're not exactly laughing along with the rest of us. Reports are swirling that Disney is pretty steamed about how South Park keeps targeting their films and their push for diversity. They see these jokes and jabs as a direct threat to their business model, which is really leaning hard into diversity right now. But it's not just about the image for Disney. They're worried this kind of satire could actually make people second-guess their motives and maybe even turn away from their movies. As for the impact of this South Park episode, it's more than just a few laughs and some angry execs. The show is trying to spark a bigger conversation about what's happening in Hollywood these days. It's like they're holding up a mirror to the industry, showing how sometimes changes made to appeal to modern sensitivities might look good on the surface but don't really add depth to the storytelling. It's a call out to all of Hollywood to think harder about how they handle diversity, not just to sprinkle it on top like it's extra seasoning, but to bake it right into the narrative. So what do you all think about Disney's reaction, and what about the impact of South Park's critique? Is it just for laughs, or is there a serious message here that Hollywood needs to listen to? Jump into the comments, share your thoughts, and let's get into it. This is a hot topic, and your opinions are what make this discussion great. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure to subscribe to Capital Informant. Thank you for watching, and see you in our next videos.